talk about slithering.
Specifically?
Yeah, that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you want to share about slithering?
I think that humans should try slithering more. It looks really efficient and kind of like a fun way to move around.
I think it could be an excellent mobility exercise.
All right, we are back for part 3 of our holiday stress series after an extended off-camera discussion about soccer and other recreational sports. That might not get aired. That's okay. So we're going to go through one more scenario that might be common for folks going home, interacting again with their family. So this scenario is, I have an uncle. He always likes to slip in some sort of political comment when we're spending time together as a family over the holidays. And it always riles up our other family members and makes the day really tense, really, really challenging. Are there any ways you'd recommend that I approach that encounter? I'm not sure if I feel comfortable asking him to stop, but it's a pretty challenging experience.
Yeah, I can start this time. So first off, I would say keep in mind that it's not your job to be the peacekeeper. You do not have to resolve the family conflict, and you don't have to address it directly or indirectly at all if you don't want to. That being said, if you do want to try to play peacekeeper a little bit, there are a few strategies you can use. The first one might be deflecting. How good are you at briefly acknowledging the comment and then moving the conversation towards a different direction? Second strategy might be evaluate how true you think your uncle's comment is. If you think your uncle's kind of full of it, then maybe his opinion doesn't matter so much. And if his opinion doesn't matter so much, maybe you don't have to keep thinking about it or feel tense because of the comment that he made. If you don't believe it, then why spend time sitting with it?
Yeah, I agree. I think, too, there are some things to consider about how you can support yourself during this time. Because it can be uncomfortable when other people are upset. So finding space, maybe if you need to take a break, step away, especially if you hear like, oh, my uncle's starting to get into it again. Like, okay, this is time for me to go on a walk and take the dog out or whatever it may be. Sometimes we can say no or that we don't like something without being direct too. So instead of saying like, please don't do that to your uncle, which could feel like really intimidating or like it might just cause everything to explode, you could just say something that's more passive or indirect, of just like, oh yeah, well, no one cares about politics anyways. Let's talk about the football game. Kind of like Connor said, deflecting. And also you could enlist the help of somebody else, Sometimes in families, it's maybe looked down upon for someone from a younger generation to call out somebody from an older generation. So can you talk to maybe your mom or an older sibling, if your uncle's married, their spouse or partner, and see if they can maybe try to help with that process to minimize that talk as well, and by being honest and saying, hey, like, this makes me uncomfortable, or I notice like people tend to get upset when we have these conversations. Can you help manage that as an older family member so that you don't have to get drawn into it yourself?
Yeah, those are all really good points and strategies. And I would add that, Austin, you as this person in this scenario, you don't have to also take on the tension that everybody else is taking on. Now, it's really easy to get drawn into that. Mm-hmm. So easy to get pulled into, especially anxiety, tension when other people are feeling it. But you're also not required to do that. Now, easier said than done, of course, but there are some ways to kind of turn your attention back towards yourself and your own experience, and try not to allow the emotional boundaries between you and the people around you to break down.
Yeah, one of my favorite ways to do that is like a grounding technique with all of your senses. Do you have any favorite ways to check back in with yourself?
Yeah, I think just refocusing, turning your attention back towards what it is that you're doing. For example, if you're at dinner and the comment comes up, maybe you refocus back on your food. You're focusing on what you're eating and what you think about what you're eating. And it's similar in a grounding sense where you're turning the attention back towards something out in the world and out of your own head.
I like that.
I feel like I insinuated I was taking this back, but I don't know that you were done. Were you done? Big surprise that I like what y'all have said, as if I'm going to say something different. But earnestly, deflection, I think, is such an important tool, one that people feel they need to shy away from. I don't know if that roots to, maybe not quite a need to be right, but a need to have confirmation. And it's such a powerful tool, I think, to understand you don't need to have a definitive confirmation to something. There's some things in life that are sort of open-ended. And I believe deflection falls into that category to say, hey, we're not going to agree. This might not ever be resolved or solidified. It might just be, bouncing off each other. But if we kind of bounce off each other, or I'm the one directing that, then I maintain some of my peace, which I think is important. The other thing I would add, learning so much more, even myself personally, about the differences between stress and anxiety is, there's certainly is some anxiety involved, but characteristically, interactions over the holidays are much more of a stress event. So it is something to put into perspective to say, hey, 4 days from now, I'll be back in my dorm watching people play kayak soccer on my computer, and not necessarily with company, whether that's family or friends in any part of your life. You're not necessarily stuck with those people the whole time. You do have opportunities where you can say, hey, I'll be back at my house 3 hours from now, no matter what happens. And then I can take my own peace and find my own space. Did y'all have anything else? All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this 3-part series. Maybe we'll do more, if only because it was a great opportunity for us to chat about not work for some time before we started filming. But in any case, please, hopefully this is helpful, and have a wonderful holiday season.